Hello, beautiful beings. It's Natasha Stojanovic, and welcome to my channel. Today, I want to share a beautiful story of healing. And that story of healing has to do with humpback whales. And it's my own story. You see, when I was 12 years old, the biggest love of my life left me. And that was my father. He didn't leave me on purpose. But for me, it came suddenly. My family knew for many months that he had cancer, but they didn't tell us kids because they wanted to protect us. And so for me, one day, one sunny day or rainy day, I don't even remember. I remember sitting at my desk and my mom getting a phone call from the hospital. And she's hanging up and she's crying and coming downstairs. Kids, I need to tell you something. And my brother, who was only 9 years old, is screaming, I know, Dad has died. All I could feel at that moment was ice cold energy down my spine. And all my emotions were cut off. I was experiencing trauma in that very moment. I remember forcing myself to cry because it felt like, how can I not cry and not feel sadness when Dad has died? It took me 6 years until I felt sadness for the first time. Because, at that time, we didn't know what trauma was. We didn't know that kids need support in this sometimes. All we knew as a family was we need to get by. And what I knew as a child was my dad would want me to thrive. He would want me to be happy. He would want me to live. And that's what I did. And so remember at 18, it was the first time that I allowed tears, real tears, from just feeling sad that my dad had died 6 years ago. And so years later, of course, being a trauma-informed healer myself today, with all that development that I did heal a lot of that trauma and a lot of that trauma and a lot of that trauma. And I came into peace with it. And I felt my father, even before that therapy, even as a child, I felt my father there. I felt he was still here with me. I had read all books about near-death experiences I could get. At that time, it was 82. I mean, this is a long time ago. It's not like today where you turn on YouTube and everybody's talking about near-death experiences. Not everybody, but many people. However, I felt like I had healed. I felt like I was okay. I was really okay. I had peace with that. I knew I've done it so many times, as many times as it came up. I've healed each part that came up. I knew he didn't leave me alone. I knew he didn't let me down. All of that was good. And then years later, as an adult woman, I went to swim with humpback whales. And in that year, when I went to swim with humpback whales, I had 2 very beautiful experiences with them. It was the first time I swam with humpback whales. One was a mother and a calf, and the other one was a whale that was close by and we couldn't see him, but he was singing. And that song just mesmerized me. I forgot about time and space and everyone around me. I couldn't stop listening. I would free dive down to the reef and just listen and look around and come back up. It was so beautiful. And at some point, I realized my body's getting cold. And I look around and the ocean is empty. And I see the boat over there. And I go to the boat and I see everybody's already dressed, eating lunch. And I didn't even realize it. And so that in itself is maybe a beautiful story. But how does it tie to my father? And by the way, my father was crazy about the ocean too. So after that experience, a few days later, I'm sitting in the plane back home. And everything was beautiful. Everything was light. Everything was such an activation. And suddenly, I felt tears, sadness, desperation. And I was crying and crying and crying. Why did he have to leave? It was decades after I had cried the last time about my father, for I did all that healing. So what actually happened is that the beautiful frequencies of the humpback whales held the space for my body, for my water, for my cells to vibrate differently. It was a real activation. However, when you get that, sometimes it can show, because that which had been suppressed or had been stored in our cells can come up. And that's what happened to me. I still had a part that had been stuffed deep down that I hadn't really experienced, looked at, seen, known, been aware of. And so all of that came up in 2 hours. And I was crying and crying and crying. And then suddenly it was gone. And I was in total peace. And so that is the power of whale magic. That is the power of what humpback whales can bring in. Now, I realized that this was going on only in hindsight. And that's also power of what frequency work does, in particular being with whales, because in the moment, we might or might not make that connection. But in hindsight, I remembered, oh my God, there was so much light. There was so much beautiful, pure light frequency streaming into my body, activating me. And it had to bring up that which is not aligned anymore. And from then on, I could truly say that I really feel my father is just as limitless as everybody else, and he is here. And it shifted the relationship that I have even now across the veil with him. And I'm nothing short of grateful. Like, I don't know if that's how you can say it in English, but I'm so grateful for that experience. And so if you'd like to, learn more about how you can connect with the whales and maybe even get a message from them and feel these frequencies, whether you're interested in a retreat with me or not, as I created a beautiful meditation and activation where I lead you into that meditation, into presence and relaxation, and then we bring in the light language, and then we call in the whales and invite them in the space, and you can really connect through your heart center with the humpback whales. and receive a message from that. And all of that is supported with beautiful high frequency, actually light language, ocean light language. And if that speaks to you, then check out the comments, the description, sorry, not the comments. Check out the description below this video. If you like my videos, subscribe to my channel. I'm sharing a lot about how we can truly embody unity consciousness, how we can live and lead from the heart. It's a channel for way showers, for those who are here to raise consciousness and supporting you to transcend your limitations and truly embody your true essence so that you can lead from that space of embodied worthiness and leadership and power of who you are in truth. And the whales are amazing support with this. They are my guides. They are here as beings of light that carry unity consciousness to support our evolution. And I'm more than honored to be able to connect whale frequency, whale wisdom, whale consciousness with humanity, because we're all one in the end. So it's another part of who you are. So if that speaks to you, check out the description below, get that free activation, and subscribe to my channel to hear more. Sending you much love. Bye-bye.